Yeah. Hello, and welcome to today's webinar about how you can make your developer portal evolve. I realize that answering how to set up a more mature developer portal and how to take that next level is almost a $2 million question. I'm aware of that. So many angles are involved. For example, different teams with their own mentality and mindset, different roles, internal alignment issues, KPIs to keep up with, budget, the overall company goals, and then individual team goals, new directions that come into the picture, such as with large language models. So anyway, of course, each developer portal context is also unique, so I will not pretend to know it all. What I will do, however, is this. I would like to present to you our practical framework to figure out the, okay, so people are still joining. Okay, so what I will do is this. I will present our practical framework to figure out the current status of a developer portal, how to improve further iteratively. What I will present is as getting as close as possible to mimicking a basic or even slightly extended audit. A full audit is, of course, going down the road very early. To showcase that, I will also give you a glimpse of what Pronovix's UX team can do to achieve the best of results. And welcome all that have joined now. I'm just outlining what we will do. I'm standing on the shoulders of my colleagues, the ones who came up with the idea for a developer portal maturity assessment, the ones who reviewed and checked again and again. Let me name Laura, Sylvie, Christoph by name, but also several subject matter experts within Pronovix helped. And last but not least, UX researcher Monica, who has tirelessly been setting up the practical and quick methodology I will be talking about. So back to our title. What does a better developer portal even mean? If you search the web or ask AI, then in the best case, you will get best practices and a few hints on where to start. But most probably, you will get a wall of text and some instructions. Maybe you will get this kind of wall. I did ask Gemini without any context about how to make a better developer portal, and I had to rotate the image to fit the slide. So, but even with context, it will be longer, of course. Better is always difficult to grasp, especially because your context is your own. Your developer portal has its own goals, its own workflows, its own users. It is really hard to define that next step always when you've just launched your portal or when you're already doing quite well. So how can we prioritize between all kinds of expectations, necessary directions and improvements, and collected user behavior and feedback, even if there is any? In our teams, well, we often get asked about how to make something better. And of course, I'm using the better word, only the word better, but of course, there are many synonyms. Our better within Pronovix is the result of experience that we gained over the years. And it's that practical experience that we poured into today's framework. The framework I'm presenting to you today. I would like to emphasize that our framework does not pretend to know it all either, but it does try to get as closely as possible to what is going on the developer portal, depict a specific situation, identify gaps, and come up with the next steps. So let me quickly introduce you to the overall mindset. We've been working on a framework to define developer portal growth for some time now. You might have seen it pass by. We firmly believe that there are 3 angles to making a developer portal a success, namely the business alignment, focusing on the internal decision-making process and overarching business priorities. The operational efficiency, measuring how easy it is for content editors, for providers or producers to do their own job through the existing internal workflows. And then the user experience angle, being our main focus for today. Looking into the quality of everything you expose to consumers. And here the hybrid persona is emerging rapidly, of course, meaning humans and AI personas need to be addressed. This angle is thus representing the external side of everything that is going on internally. And we also have plans to measure business alignment and operational efficiency more closely in the future, so stay tuned if you're interested. Well, let me take you on a journey of a fictional developer portal to explain what is happening in the background and how we can help take that next step towards growth using our framework. The story is made up from different materials we handled in the past. Here we go. Mercurius is a leading digital bank. Their core use case is the Motion Accelerator, a service used by major affiliates like shoe shops. When shoe shop customers wish to purchase really expensive, really rare specialist winged sandals, because this is a Mercurius bank, that can actually make you fly, and the shoe shop that has a pair in stock can integrate Mercurius's API on its website to make sure its customers can apply for a loan to buy this, calculating their monthly cost, for example. Or a shoe shop, often without an in-house developer, can offer a customizable low-code widget in store to offer instant loan approvals to customers. Well, so far, so good. This Motion Accelerator service, with its different integration options, as I said, API or widget, is being built and maintained by one team, the team that is responsible for consumer lending. And the service on the portal is well documented, but it focuses on the technical, how to integrate the API, for example, and only partially articulates why a partner should care. Showcasing the business value to non-technical partner stakeholders is falling apart. Other teams within Mercurius are lagging behind, being only passive contributors to the portal with incomplete offering and documentation. If they do contribute, the documentation is very technical. This is reflected on the homepage of the developer portal. This homepage is a mess. There is a central team that is maintaining the portal and is responsible for making it a success, pursuing the company's business goals of bringing the bank closer to the customer by offering more services that customers could benefit from based on the data that live in the company. And another goal is expanding the network of partners. The central team got stuck and they contact Pronovix for help. The Mercurius team quickly realized that there is a gap between the current state of the portal and its desired state. Now the portal successfully exposes some data, but it's not reaching its full potential. And in the future, the portal must accelerate partner sales and provide a unified end-to-end user experience for its diverse and hybrid users. Well, we promised Mercurius that our methodology can help to figure out how to proceed through 3 steps that we use to convert qualitative observations into actionable data. Let me show you our workflow. First of all, we map out a user's high-level goals through 6 focus areas: discovery, decision-making, onboarding, go live, maintenance and troubleshooting, and community. These are the stages of a typical user journey. You might recognize those. Second comes analyze. In more than 20 categories, we defined enablers that address the user's high-level goals, and we measure more than 130 practices or activities that make those enablers work. For example, an enabler could be visual harmony, in which we have practices such as consistent look and feel and content-first design. And then last but not least comes the measure step, in which the portal's current implementation is measured against a best-in-class standard to be able to prioritize. And this is what we want to get to, of course. In the meanwhile, based on the mentioned steps, we conducted a growth audit on the Mercurius developer portal with the help of our methodology and created a report based on the findings. And I will now introduce you to some parts of that report. We noticed the following in the focus area of discovery. So focus area was reflecting the high-level goals. And the first one is discovery. While we were deep diving into the portal's catalog, and a practice example is APIs and products are organized in a clear, consistent, and structured manner, as you can see on the slide. Our report result shows that Mercurius scored quite well here, and this indicates that the teams that are actively contributing to the portal have strong technical foundation and at least pay attention to their representation in the catalog. Delving further, however, we see that the lending team's products are technically well documented, but the other documentation is incomplete due to passive contributors from the other teams, as we have mentioned before. Another example, showing hidden opportunities for a fictional bank. Still looking at discovery as the overall high-level goal, we now jump into the category of navigation and discovery. Let me share 2 examples of practices again, spiced up with our findings. It becomes quite clear that Mercurius does not cater to different audiences very well, as finding entry points on the homepage, which is a mess, to start a journey is very hard. The main navigation is geared towards technical users, we found, and entry points for less technical audiences, such as partners and salespeople, are sometimes present, but often hidden or non-intuitive. And although it's easy, that's the second practice example, although it's easy to find APIs from the main navigation, finding specific services based on solution type rather than API name is difficult, which is hindering partner-focused discovery. We did not list all the detailed results, of course, of the report. That would lead us too far especially because this is a fictional use case, of course. But here's the fictional overview for all of the focus areas, these high-level goals. We can clearly see that onboarding and go live, the first 2, are in place, are functioning somewhat well, showing that the available documentation needs to be improved, so that the documentation needs to be improved. While discovery, next one, clearly shows that it is not easy for any user to find their way through the offered services, and so on and so on. So to dive deeper as well. We can also do comparisons to find out where we can position the Mercurius developer portal when comparing it to other best-in-class portals, other 2 best-in-class portals. For example, the Developer Portal Awards winners of this year. We can play further. Here we benchmark the Mercurius portal against a wider range of banking and fintech portals, giving the resource for all kinds of conclusions, of course. What can we derive from the results? Looking at the gaps we discovered. Let's put our bank's challenges on the left and reality checks on the right. One challenge dealt with how to go beyond exposing APIs to mainly developers and expose services to less technical audiences and demonstrate business value. Our audit shows that discovery is not scoring too high. The core API is discoverable. Remember that one about the shoes. But the structure is falling apart to guide different users, meaning technical users, non-technical users, or from another angle, the hybrid personas. So they are not guided effectively nor efficiently. And with hybrid users emerging, that was the AI persona and the human persona, we cannot emphasize enough that an intuitive and clear portal with a well-defined documentation structure matters more than ever. Another challenge was aligning portal goals with broader business goals. Mercurius wanted to shift the portal from merely exposing data to actively driving partner sales and cross-selling. For example, promote cross-team offerings, integrating solutions from different teams even. For example, offer a warranty solution next to the loan for shoes. But also wanting to provide complex integrated solutions to partners and affiliates. Our audit showed a lack in the decision-making process. Partners lack the necessary business information, such as value propositions, clear pricing, comparisons, etc., that they need to commit to a solution And internal teams and account managers possibly don't find their way to the portal either, or on the portal, to the portal and on the portal, to help sell solutions that are documented on the portal. Let's drill further. Audit results are not enough, of course. How to get to actionable steps that can be put on a roadmap. How to fix the gaps. While the growth audit delivers a score, it also takes the next step, help with a prioritized roadmap. The model works with a score system that accordingly identifies critical gaps in the focus areas of discovery, onboarding, decision-making, etc., pinpointing the functional areas and highlighting the individual practices that need to be worked on, as I've shown you before. This turns a high-level problem into a series of concrete, fixable tasks. In the case of our Mercurius portal, this could be partnership pathways to clearly define the process and conditions for initiating partnerships. It could also be value messaging with the task of evaluating and rewriting service descriptions to clearly articulate the why and the business value for the non-technical stakeholders and partners. And then there could also be something like low-code visibility that needs to bring hidden opportunities. And for example, this could be low-code ready-made solutions, and it needs to be brought to the forefront for partners, for example, those without in-house developers. But how to fix the gaps? Yes, we discussed that. So now getting to actionable steps, yes, but new questions might emerge still. Writing for new users, but which ones? What with AI as this user? What internal processes do we have now, and how to align all teams to make good use of the developer portal? How to do the restructuring of the portal, and to make sure everything is intuitive and discoverable. Figuring out a solution that takes care of all that is involved is really hard. Let me emphasize that, at least in the beginning, an outside-in perspective might be the crux in this. Making sure to empathize with all the targeted users and involved internal teams to discover hidden possibilities. Also to stand out against direct and indirect competitors, for example. And by the way, this is the Pronovix UX team's strength. We have a process for this in place. This is a full solution discovery framework to figure out real user needs through research, interactive prototyping, testing, and iterating. Furthermore, you get to get your portal ready for the next growth level and preparing for a set of iterations. Focus on an information architecture and adjusted workflows that support discovery and translate or generate user needs into solutions to answer that what's next question. That's it. Thanks for listening. And if you're interested in a growth audit for your developer portal, we have an exclusive webinar offer. You can secure one free growth audit through this QR code. That's it from my side. Are there any questions? And thank you for listening.